All right. Welcome to the Dis Dat podcast, episode 60. We've done 60, bro. 6 packets of 10 just wrapped up now. 60 episodes on the 16th of October 2021. Beautiful Saturday in Sydney. Out here bringing the weekly updates to you, bro. Bringing the weekly updates to all the gladiators that are listening to the podcast. Now we're cranking it up, man. Far out. Like 2,200, 2,500 downloaders a week. Which is, I mean, look, I'm grateful to everyone that's out there listening right now. I'll start off with a little bit of an attitude of gratitude, because if you've been watching the station, you've probably noticed that recently I've done a segment called Meditation Station, where you enter relaxation on the station via meditation with a guided audios, not visuals. You don't want to see that because you'll snap out of the meditation quickly. So you just want to hear the soothing sounds of this voice that's been, it's a gift of God, bro. So I'm not going to deny him the glory of me speaking from a microphone and you listening on an iPhone 9 or a 10 or a 12 or a 13. If you're some type of influencer and you need the 13 now, even though it's exactly the same thing, and Steve Jobs is just talking to these people down here that are still alive on Earth through the iCloud that he lives in at the moment, and he's saying, update it, man. These guys need to consume something else exactly 12 months later from the last update, which is exactly the same thing, looks the same, works the same thing. Different package? No, same package. Same phone? Or what about the marketing? Slight twist. We're going to put pictures of parrots flying past now, and they'll say filmed on an iPhone. What iPhone films parrots that good, bro? Looks like the cameras they use on the Martin Scorsese film, David Attenborough. That English guy, the tea-sipping the British guy from Brixton. I don't know where he's from, by the way, so if you're going to cut that, I'm not sure where he's from, just saying a suburb over there, and it's a hat company at the same time, Brixton. So I've seen him wear those little berets, so that might even be a Brixton hat. It's all fused together, bro. But no one's in a forest, and I've seen people laying in the mud swamps of the local area, which has some rare birds. No one's sitting there like this. There's a bird. Do you know who does that? 15-year-old girls with their friends, and they're doing TikTok videos in the middle of the forest to get extra likes and guys to follow them. That's all it's for. No guy that has a serious bird-watching addiction is walking around with an iPhone 13. Kim Kardashian and her swamp of followers are the ones that are doing that stuff. And they're taking mostly photos of themselves in a bedroom without the bedroom even being cleaned behind them. Clothes from Tuesday still on the floor. Nettie Stram? Why isn't your mum walking in and saying, Patricia, pick up the clothes? Enough with the phone. We've seen your head 2,642 times on Instagram. We're sick of it. Pick up the clothes, pick up a mop. That's what would happen in my house. My mum walks in there, she sees towels on the floor all the time. I'm not sure why there's always a towel on the floor. But if you have boys, you'd understand they love a towel. So she would have just been like, clean your room, man, before you go out. Otherwise, when you come back, I'm going to tell your dad, and it's on, bro. You know, so a bit of discipline. I don't know how I even got to this. So I think I got to this via iPhone 13 or whatever. Don't buy it. It's a waste of money, all right? All right, so this was Freedom Week. Coming to you guys on the first Saturday after Freedom Week. Freedom Week, I mean, look, if that's not a condescending way to let people out after they've been reluctantly locked into their house for the last 4 to 5 months, and if that's not like a piss take, Freedom Week from the government, like we didn't make that up. We didn't say, hey man, it's Freedom Day, it's Freedom Day. They said it. They go, it's Freedom Day. It's either them or the heathens that are on the news channels, which I've been doing a bit of news watching this morning, and it just immediately put my psyche out. I had to do a meditation station after that, just to realign the chakras, put me back into line. You got to do this stuff because it's an attention grab out there. And I'm one of the guys fishing for your attention too, but fishing for strategies, Audi, positivity, this, that. Obviously, you should give me your attention. You should maybe even cash, maybe even a bit of cash. I'm not doing this for my health. I lick rivers for my health. But you know what I mean? Throw $1 at me, bro. You know, sign up to the Patreon. I've got 3 people on the Patreon. I mean, that's laughable as it is. It's hilarious. But shout out to the 3 people that are on Patreon. You know what I mean? just keep going. You follow what I'm saying? I don't want to log in next week to Patreon and there's 2 and then 1. Where am I going to go from there? So the Patreon is, you know, what it is. You pay us a monthly fee. You get extra videos. You get a T-shirt. You get a shout-out. You get tickets to the show. The whole thing. Support the supporters that support the podcast, basically. So, yeah, opening week, bro. It's been an interesting week. You know, this week I kind of, a little bit of work, a little bit at home. Still haven't got back into the schedule of wrapping, stitching and plugging on the regular how I used to. But, you know, I've got my son at the moment. My daughter started going to school. I went out. The parks are open now and there's not a human being left in the parks. But there are all the human beings that were jamming the park up are in cafes now. This morning, when I went to the park with my missus and the 2 kids, we literally got to the park at about 9 o'clock. It's a reasonable, that's late for anyone that's got kids. Usually get to the park at 7:30. You're like, get these little rascals out of their house before they renovate the entire house inside. They're like interior designers, the kids. But they just want to take everything out of everything and leave it on the floor and then just start going, oh, okay, where could I put the nail clippers? You know what? Under the fridge. That's a nice spot for them. Okay. The brush my dad uses to style his Bon Jovi style hair, where could that go? In the washing machine. Let's put it in there. That's a beautiful spot there. I like the decor of the washing machine. I'll put it. Guess what? The wet clothes in the washing machine mid-cycle, press that button, pull it out. Where we're going to put them? Toilet floor. In the single toilet. Put it on the floor there. This yogurt squeezy packet, where does that go? In my mouth? Don't be traditional. Don't be orthodox. Squeeze it on some toys. And I'm talking about the furry toys. Put it on the furry toys. Let's squeeze it all over the teddy bears and the Toy Story figurines. That's a nice way to start the day. So you pluck these 2 little, as I said, rascals out of the house, throw them in a stroller or on one of those front strap things like a koala or the kangaroo straps or whatever you call them, and take them to a park, let them run. You get to the park, not a human in sight. Gone. Cafes. Everyone's at cafes now. And I was like to the missus, I love this. Because we just get a takeaway coffee or whatever, or we'll make one at home, but mostly we just get a takeaway and we'll hit the park. And then there's no, look, some poor sod and his son came down about 9:30, but the rest of it was just open. And then I go to the missus, do you want me to go? And she goes, go and get a little cheese sandwich or something for our son. The guy's fiending. The cafe's 100 metres, 200 metres away. I walked up, jam-packed, bro. People are getting served. They're loving it. I saw 3 tradies, bro. They all looked like they went to the pub to live at the pub last night. They didn't look like they came home. They looked like they were living there overnight. But I don't know. So my guess is because a normal pub will close at probably what? 2 in the morning, 12 in the, it's probably local, but they drank enough for the alcohol to still look like it's in their system at 9. You know why? Because they've been trapped in the house and it's time to catch up. What type of life is this? This is Australia, bro. We're not just going to go have a casual 4 beers. A guy that I know, I'm not going to mention his name, politically correct and stuff, told me that he drank 18 schooners on Monday. People that have gone and fought in the World War don't drink that when they come home. He drank 18. Plus he said he had some extras, cocktails, this and that. And the 18, that was just to celebrate Freedom Day. I don't do that tacky shit, bro. It's Freedom Day. I'm already pissed off that we've been locked up for that long. I'm not going to go and celebrate on the day of freedom. Like going more left field, bro. Like just going to slide in when I feel like it. I can't be that guy that turns up there knocking on the door. Hey, Freedom Day, man, double vaccinated card. Here I am. Yes, smile. What do you want me to take a photo? You want me to take my pants off? No worries. Go and sit down. Sit down on a chair. You're not allowed to stand up and drink. Why not? What's the difference? That or that? Yeah, the difference is Beridiclian said don't stand up, or this other guy, Parrots. Whatever, this little freak with the glasses. So I can't be dancing like that. I just grab a 6-pack, have a couple of friends over, have a drink. I'm going to go to the pub tomorrow, so eat my words on that one. Going to the pub with brother-in-law, sister-in-law, have a little pub lunch. It'll be 3 to 4 schooners maximum, I guarantee it. Because if I get any more schooners in me, the missus starts going there when we get home, clean up this, feed this, lift that, and I can't be bothered. I just sit back on the couch. Once you kill your buzz, bro. You can't go to work after you're drinking like Jimmy Barnes and then someone asks you to like vacuum. You get into a brawl because you go, get out of here, bro, I'm going to vacuum. And she goes, what did you say, man? His mummy says it had 3 soda waters. So if anything, I want to ploy her with alcohol so she can get on the same level. That's like that mate that turns up to the party late all the time. You've already had 6, 7 drinks and he just sits there and he grabs a can of Coke. And you go, what are you doing? He goes, nah, not drinking tonight, bro. I'm shredding a little bit. And you go, grab a drink, bro. I can't sit here for the next 3 hours with you just drinking Diet Coke. He goes, nah, don't worry about it, bro. Drink. You guys drink. You're like, nah. It's like being at a meat restaurant with a vegan. It doesn't work. You feel guilty. So I'll probably go to the pub tomorrow, but I heard a conversation from those 3 tradies this morning while I was waiting for the coffee or the sandwich or whatever it was, and it was like, oh man, I had the worst week. Gambling's been, I don't know what to punt on. There's been no sports this week, because the footy's finished. I think the AFL's finished. There's no UFC on or something like that. So he's spun out and his mates are going, yeah, I know, me too, bro. Like my sports bet account hasn't been getting depleted. I've actually got cash now, and that doesn't feel good. Because being a gambler, you want to lose cash. What do you think you go there for? In your head, you think you're going to win. There's a thought of winning, but reality is losing. And that's the rush. The rush is the thinking you're going to win, and then the reality is oh shit, I didn't win. And then again, I'll get it back. So let's go up a little bit more. Let's do multis. Oh shit, I lost again. Why do I keep losing against these companies? I don't understand. I would think that I would win, bro, because I know heaps of people that have got sports bet accounts, and I don't. I do have a sports bet account. I'll be honest. When Conor McMuffin fights with Khabib with the lot, that bloke, lettuce, tomato, onion brother, when he fought versus him, I threw $50 on, and I didn't want to do it. My brother-in-law he's a bad influence, You are who you're with. So this guy was like, "Are you gonna put a punt on, bro?" I go, "What do you mean punt? What, go up to the TAB? No way, just losers walk in that place." He goes, "Not TAB, it's on your phone now. Sports bet." Opens up the phone, downloads the app. I go, all right, I'll throw a little punt on, bro. Could be with the lot or Conor McMuffin, you know what I mean? I'll throw it on. So I put $50 down, lose it. Then Conor fought again. I put $100 down, lost it. Broke his leg, this idiot. So I'm like, I'm losing cash, hand over fist. And he goes, bro, once, and there's always that story. This is the sports bet classic. The people that are janks, they always say this story. You wouldn't believe it. Huge win last week. $3,500. You're like, man, that's pretty good, bro. $3,500. You could do a bit with that. I can fly over to New Zealand, go skiing, we'll take the missus, go pump left, right. This, that, And he goes, no. You should have seen it. I put $7 on some tennis player to win in Hungary. And then there was like a Formula One race with some guy called Lewis Hamilton that's got dreadlocks in his head, looking like Bone Thugs and Harmony, for him to come second place. And then one of the guys from the Roosters to get caught doing a rape sesh. And then that all came together. And I'm not saying the Rooster guy did that. That was just made up, okay? So comedy, this, that, creation, none of it's verified. So if you're going to cut that, cut it with me just saying that I was just joking. And Roosters is not the football team. Roosters is an ice hockey team from Canada, okay? So don't... And then you got $3,500 from that. And I'm like, wow, how much you put down? I was like, and they always put the low figure, $70, bro. Easy. A quick 3,700. And then I always dig a little bit deeper. How long you been betting on sports bet? Bro, since I was 18, it's 26 now. So it's like 8 years worth of losing cash? He goes, no, I've had some big wins. Once I won 1,700, once $6,000. I go, have you won more than you've lost? But. And then they're like, no. Of course, if they're honest with themselves. No human being, you can't win. It's tilted. It's tilted for these guys to win. These heathens that run the gambling. It's like the people that go to casino. They get in the bus, they get dressed up, they take a girl with them. This, no, I'm going to take a couple grand cash, bro. Hit the pokies, this, that. I came out with nothing. This week, next week, came out with $5,000. And you go, $5,000, that's sick. Goes in the next week, came out with nothing. I'm 10 down, 5 up. It's tilted, bro. I don't know how I got to this. These sports bet guys that they were talking, It was just I've noticed a lot of young guys, like my cousins, they're younger, like between 18 to 27. And a lot of them have got into punting. And I remember when I was that age too, I used to punt as well, but punt on the pokies. Why would you punt on the pokies? Because you don't have any game and you can't pick up a girl at a nightclub, so you go to the pokey room to have durries and put your money in there and just drown your sorrows away. That's why. And then you go home and watch Pornhub and have a ham, cheese and tomato sandwich at 3 in the morning. That's why. But these pokies are perfectly placed there for the people that have no game or sloppy, tired, alcoholics, and you go in there and you dump your cash. And I'm not judging, Vi. I told you. I'm up here on the mountain together, giving bread, fish, all together. I was one of you. All right? And I don't punt now, but again, the odd Conor McMuffin fight came out. The odd time you go to the pub and then you've had 9 schooners and then you put some cash into the pokey with your brother-in-law and you win $300 and you go, that's mad. And it puts a seed in the back of your head to go every time you go to the pub now to make cash. Because as soon as you go to the pub, you go, there's $300 waiting for us there, bro. Let's put 50 in each and we'll get the 150 out. And because you've had that one mad experience, you definitely go back again. And that's how it ropes you in. And I have no idea how I got to this. The empty parks, the people, it's been a good freedom week, basically. Everyone's in. Melbourne's still locked up. I'm trying to book a tour down in Melbourne for next year. You can't even get a response from people. Yeah, man, not a problem, man. Send us an email. At the moment, I'm on ScoMo wages and I can't leave my front door and the business I'm going through has gone belly up, so we might have to go to another place. Just let us know and we'll work it out when we come out of this place. And I'm thinking to myself, the more I listen to, the more news I read, the more that I'm researching, the lockdown thing is too much. We're too small a country. We're locked down to the greatest extent around the whole world. I think Dan Andrews, that dweeb, he's locked up Melbourne on a Guinness Book of Record level. Think about that. If you're a premier there to look after your people and he's going under the guise of safety, deaths, this, that, if I keep you guys all at home, everything's going to be okay? The case numbers keep going up, but what's going on there? Oh, there's always an excuse. Oh, that's just because people aren't following the rules, aren't they? Bro, you've trapped everyone in the house. Same with New South Wales. They trapped us in to the nth degree. You can't leave 5 kilometres. Some people couldn't even go 500 metres. You can't from out of your suburb. And then you go, the numbers start at 200, 100 a day. Oh, watch out. And then it got to 1,500. And we've been locked in house for 2.5, 3 months. How's that working? I don't get it. So the amount of mistakes that the professionals, the health professionals, these scientific dweebs, all right, and I'm not having a go, you are what you are, and they're making mistakes, right? Because this is our first rodeo. As you say, this is your first rodeo. You're going to trip over every hazard on Earth. It's like when you play Mario World for the first time, you're getting smashed by every little villain that comes along. All those little mushroom things, the guys that shoot fire, those plants that come up like that and they eat you. You're falling in every trap. You're not passing the stages. And it comes at a cost, bro. So I hope that Victoria gets out of whatever trap that they're currently in with that dweeb and they don't re-elect him ever again, because I want to go to Victoria. I think everyone wants to go to Victoria. The whole country's going out and getting jabbed left, right and centre, bro. It's like a porno out here. And we're still, maybe you can go there in November, December. Open up, bro. It's time. Let's get out of here. This episode of the Dis Dat podcast was brought to you by our sponsors, and I'm going to give them a shout out right now. Visual Energy Signs. Hello, Visual Energy. Burek Brothers, which is the best Burek in Sydney and Rockdale. Angel Grove Collectibles, rare collectible toys, Pokemon, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and all of that. Bruce Super Convenience, which is the #1 Aussie snack plug from all around the world, the best snacks, chocolates, confectionery. And Orange Legal Group, which does everything to do with acquiring and selling real estate or your legal conveyancing, mortgages, home loans and accounting. So shout out, support the supporters that support the podcast. I took some time before I jumped over here, coming out dressed like some guy from Foot Locker crossed with a businessman crossed with Dick Tracy, bro. Big Dick Tracy over here. And I I went on the news, bro, and I very rarely go on the news, but I was thinking to myself, what's gone on this week during Freedom Week that I need to know about? Now, I never look at news. Never. Why? Why don't you look at it? Because I got a life. And I've got a lot of good interests, things that pique my interest all the time. I told you, I like to lick rivers. I like to lick the misses. I like to make this stuff. Commentary, content, whatever you want. It's not content. Stop saying, oh, got to make content. No one's asking for it, okay? I just like to do this stuff, talk on a camera. So I was just thinking, I'll go on to news.com.au, have a look what's crack-a-lacking. And there's a lot of stuff. One of the things that I did see, though, that piqued my interest was that it was just a photo of a little, like if you're watching the video, of a little cup, like a little bath. It looked like this, like the size of my hands. A little cup, like put your two hands together and make like a cup, like you're going to drink water out of it. Like, you know, when you're a kid, then you're down at the park and there used to be those taps that came out of the ground with the timber, they held them together and there was a huge 1 meter kind of diameter worth of water in there and you had to kind of lean over and stretch, and lucky you had a flexible lower back then, but if you do that now, you end up going to the chiropractor for the next 6 to 8 weeks taking anti-inflammatory, non-steroidal anti-inflammatories, because, you know what I mean, this was back in the 90s, 80s. Anyway, it was like a little cup, but it looks steez, bro, like it looked nice. And I'll go, what is this cup? Like, why is this on the news? And then it said, this cup, this device has won the James Dyson. The guy that goes around sucking things up with a vacuum, that guy has given an award to this lady. It's about male contraception. The male contraceptive bath device wins Dyson awards. So let's have a read about this, because this really piqued my interest. The groundbreaking device. Now, and this is what you got to do. You got to read the news a little bit more, because I'm the type of guy that just goes for headlines and then I make my assumptions. Most of the time I'm completely wrong, but a lot of the time, and that doesn't make sense, I'm right. Male contraceptive. The groundbreaking device promises to give men a reliable, pain-free form of birth control for using heat on their private parts. All right. Now, let's go on. So I want to find out who designed this. Who's this person that designed this? How did their heads work, right? A groundbreaking form of male conception which uses, is that your contraception, which uses a kind of testicle bath to prevent pregnancy, has been unveiled in Germany, of course. Germany is the guys that invented pissing on each other in pornos. Rebecca Wiesbar, all right, an industrial design graduate from the University of Munich, took out the top prize of Germany's James Dyson Award. What's James Dyson doing in Germany anyway? Shouldn't he be vacuuming up those rugs in England that they hardly ever change? What's he doing in Germany, this bloke? For the ultrasound-based contraception for men. So it's an ultrasound-based contraception. There's nothing wrong with that. Just trust her, bro. She looks nice. She's got kind of blonde hair up to here, little glasses. And she's sitting on a mosaic table with a cup that she's going to get her husband to rear up and sit on. That's fine. This is all normal. It means, all right, so named COSO, C-O-S-O. I don't know what that is. The device uses ultrasound deep heat to cause sperm mobility in the testicles to be modified and temporarily cease. Temporarily cease. Now, we don't know. Neither does she. Who cares? The vacuum salesperson, he cares. He gave her an award for it. Because he probably wants to dip his balls in there and get rid of whatever he can unveil onto the world. It means the female egg cannot be fertilized by sperm during sex, with users simply needing to use the device every few months, just every couple of months, for the contraception to take shape, so to take effect. So I'm thinking you dunk your balls, you give your balls a spa bath, right? This little German spa bath lady, she gives you this contraption, fill it up with a bit of water, all right? I don't know how you do, how is that going to be comfortable? Do you squat? How are you going to sit? Well, you're not going to sit on a chair and jam that plastic in your gooch, and then what? What are you going to do? It's like sitting. It's like sitting on a hard cup. That's not good. Oh, you sit on the edge of a chair. Okay, there you go. Sit on the edge of the chair. Hang your ball bag over. And I'm not going to say hang your testicles over. All right? Ball bag's a horrible word, but it is a bag that holds the balls. And then you put this up there and probably press a little button. I would say it's just like a little one button, like something very minimal, something very steezy. You know, just one button, on and off, and kill the future. On, no kids. Take it off, still no kids. Because it's too late now, all right? You've put your balls in there. You're already mental. You shouldn't be doing any kids making anyway. So the hormone-free, there's no hormones, and reversible contraception, which is good, okay, involves putting your testes inside of an ultrasonic bath. Kikivari a little bit. Just give them a nice boil the balls. That's a nice thing. And for the first time, you've got to do it under doctor's supervision. And it takes 2 weeks to take effect. So do not splurge for the next couple of weeks. That's it. Boil your balls. Do not splurge. That's what I'm saying. First 2 weeks. Put a little calendar up. Ball bath. And then count 7. Count 7. Splurge. Safely. Here's the type of news that makes it over there. This could be groundbreaking. I'm not gonna say that she's a complete dreamer, because they say that I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. John Legend said that. So when my partner and I were looking for an alternative method, we became aware of the lack of male contraceptions. I have a suggestion for her and for her dweeby husband. How do I put this? Pull out. Pull out of the project. Pull out of the project firstly, and then when you're in the bedroom, out. Give yourself a bit of time, bro. Give yourself a little bit of time. You don't need to be there with a vacuum salesman pitching a bath to put someone's balls in. Yeah, so his news website is pretty good. Like, there's definitely a lot of informative stuff. There was stuff about modern slavery, forced labor bill is backed up for China, so they're taking, basically people are standing up to the slave camps that are in China. Well, they say they are on the news, and then the next thing you know, everyone's wearing Yeezys, and probably all of this stuff was made in slaves. Who knows? Like, you don't check because you're ignorant. You don't care, bro. You just go, how much is that? $79? Yeah, I'll take that. Give me 2 of those. And there's some guy in China that doesn't want to do the work, doing the work. I mean, that you got that. And then on the news website, I saw Superman has come out as bisexual in the new comic. So that's newsworthy. And it is newsworthy, bro. Fans have reacted with delight as DC Comics revealed the new Superman is bisexual. Why are we bringing sex into Superman, bro? What? Do that behind closed doors, mate. And this guy is the son of Lois Lane and Clark Kent. So they've pumped out a son now. And he's fallen in love with, who? A guy called Jay Nakamura. He's in a friendship, and now in the latest comic, they're hooking up now. Why do we care? Does anyone know, bro? Does anyone know why we care about who Superman's pounding? Do we even want to know that? Do you even want to see Superman come home, have a spaghetti bolognese and bend his mate over? Do ya? Because it says here, fans react with delight. I'm not reacting with delight. That's going to destroy my perception of Superman. The straight one, or the gay one, or the bisexual one. I don't care which way you're tilting. Don't show me your sexual habits. And plus, this guy Jay McNamara, whoever his name is, that's going to get drilled by Superman, you got to be careful, bro. This guy's got a steel cock. What do you think the internal damage is going to be like? Like, I don't mind if he's just hooking up, kissing, grabbing this and that, hard body, chest, whatever. Do it in your own time. Don't put it in the comic here and buckle my mind, because I'm worrying about Superman flying through buildings and stopping, the demons of the world. I don't want him getting battered off in an apartment now. That's too much. Stop sexualizing everything. Keep it to yourself. Is anything private? I say I'm going to live with the missus. You don't see photos of me with one leg up in the air, bro. You know what I mean? Hip flexing, this, that. You don't see it. It's all undercover. I don't mind if Superman goes, oh, little machine. You know what I mean? That'll be all right. It'll be funny. He's whatever. It's a little bit normal. But now he's hooking, tonguing, kissing. I think he did that with Lois Lane as well, which is all right. But leave it at that. Leave it at that. I don't mind if just a hookup. That's fine. On top of a building, he saved his life, this and that. But I can't be having a whole series of now where they're going shopping at Walmart together. And now they're going to get the carrots. I want the carrots. No, I don't need the carrots. I don't like carrots. They give me reflux. Questions for Vlad this week. What do we got? It's getting a bit hot in here. Questions for Vlad. All right, Michael Koletsis. Michael Koletsis, bro. I got papers out here, bro. Look, this is what you call, like, you got to prepare yourself, bro. I'm not going to guess my way through life. I'm out here to rap. Michael Koletsis, tips on being able to get rid of an addiction or mindset that you can't get rid of. Tips on being able to get rid of an addiction or mindset that you just can't get rid of. An addiction. Bro, I've been doing a lot of this stuff this week, just thinking about addiction. Everyone's addicted. We're creatures of habit, bro. So if there's anything that you want to assess, it's what you're doing unconsciously. That's why I did the meditation station, is because I'm unconsciously licking rivers every day. I mean, that's probably a positive thing, as much as you want. But then you go too far on it, you blow your knees out, and then you can't run at all, and you crank 5 kilos on that. I mean, that's a story of my year last year and coming into this year. I mean, yeah, looking all right now, but you know what I mean? It was a tough challenge, bro. But Mike, tips on being able to get rid of an addiction, bro. I'm not a specialist at this, but I can tell you from my stories. I used to be a cigarette smoker, and cigarettes, I think, are the toughest addiction in modern culture to ever get rid of, all right? Now, people that have smoked a couple of years, all right, you can punt it. But if you've come up from young smoking cigarettes, and I started smoking when I was 15, 16 years old. So I was like, and my daughter's going to watch this one day. So sorry, baby, you know what I mean? People were morons and I was one of them. And so it gets entrenched into your psyche. It's a subconscious thing then. And it's aligned with things you do, bro. So if you're addicted to, let's say, durries, or if you're addicted to the cultural catastrophe that is at the moment, going out with Dimchi and going to the toilets more than normal, or a person that's got a kidney problem, then what happens is it starts fun. Any addiction most of the time starts fun, because if it started shit, why the hell would you do it again? All right, so it starts fun, and then it just slowly becomes normal, and then it's shit. And then just to feel normal, you got to keep pumping the addiction in. That can be from anything, but mostly negative people. That's why you're asking for tips of being able to get rid of an addiction or mindset that you just can't get rid of. I'm presuming that's negative, bro. So I don't know, like, the first thing you got to do, this is just my tips. So don't come at me, you're not this, you're not that, you haven't done the research. I'm just speaking on my half. I hate people that come over. I don't hate them. I actually don't care at all about what you say or do, but don't come at me so I can get notifications with your comments, your 2 cents. I don't need, I can't bank them. All right, so my first thing is I'd assess what's bothering you. So let's just say it's durries. Let's say you smoke durries. This is how I did it. I started speaking it out loud. I hate durries. I hate these things while I was having a cigarette. Now, I was a fiend, physically and psychologically addicted to it. And I still am to this day. Like, if I see a durry and I'm in a good mood, I want one. I like it. Because it's linked, when you're a fiend, it's linked to only the good stuff. The addiction psychs you for the good stuff. And then when you're doing it all the time, it's horrible, but the addiction plays on your mind. That's why it's such an insidious thing, and they've put it into society. Alcohol and cigarettes, porn, these things are addictions that are put into society. Why? Because they're insidious, and they will destroy you on a long-term base. You can function with them, but they will just eat at you. And that's very good, because if you're smart and you don't smoke, don't drink, don't bat, don't use porn, don't do drugs, don't do all of that stuff, You might, have an odd drink or have an odd durry even or whatever, stuff like that, but you've got bigger goals. You're going to be successful. You are, because this stuff they generalise the populace with it. And you really can't help yourself. Like, if you're a bit of a weaker character, and it gets you when you're young, when you got no self-confidence and the peers are around, and some guy called Peter goes, "Oh, Durry, bro, sick cunt, bro," and you're standing at the front of a 18th birthday party. It's just because you haven't got any style or balls to go and talk up to a girl or have a dance on the dance floor because you're worried about people's opinions of you, and it's an amalgamation of how you're brought up and your psyche and your personality. It's mental, but these things are perfectly slipped in at that point through culture to help you deal with things. So you have a durry, you deal with your anxiety or your social clumsiness, and then you have a drink and it gives you confidence to talk, so, and all of that stuff, and then it creeps into your life if you're a little bit of an addictive person. But the first things first, you would write it down and verbalize it. This is what I did for the durries. I wrote it down. I started telling people, "Hey, durries, bro, I want to quit this shit. It's got a hold on me. I can't do this. I want to run. I want to lick rivers." This was more catastrophic stage where I was just smoking. I wasn't doing much exercise. Then I had to write it. I stuck it on my mirror at home where I was getting dressed, I put it on the mirror. "You are a non-smoker. You're a non-smoker." I was still smoking through that mirror, but every time I came home stinking on durries, I would see that and I felt like a hypocrite. I'd look at it and I'd go, "You just had 5 durries, bro. It says you're a non-smoker. You either rip that down or you become a non-smoker." And then slowly that mindset seeps into the back of your head. It battles the loser's mindset of being a smoker, right? Let's just say that. Now, I know a lot of people that smoke durries, they're not losers, right? But for me, this is just for me. I felt like a loser when I smoked cigarettes. Now, even last year when I went on tour and stuff, I smoked cigarettes, and I slipped into a couple of months where I got back into having the odd cigarette, and it was bad. And I snapped and I got myself, again, cold turkey. But lucky I had quit for like 3 or 4 years before that. Lucky. Because otherwise, this is the type of thing that'll get you for life, right? So you put it in front of you, you can see it, you can't deny it. You can't lie to yourself because the body doesn't like to lie to itself. The mind doesn't like it. So you keep writing it down, and every morning, get up, you get dressed, you read it to yourself. You get in the car, you read it to yourself. You still have a durry, you read it to yourself. Then you plan, you quit it. I did it just one day. I was smoking a cigarette, and my mate came outside. It was a cold winter's day, and he goes to me, "What are you smoking for, bro? Like, no one smokes anymore." This is, for example, durries, right? No one smokes. And I go, "Relax, bro." And I was having a cigarette, and he took my packet, threw it in the bin. And I was going to have a brawl with him. I go, "Why are you doing that, bro? I'm an adult, this and that." He goes, "Bro, Vlad, enough." And I go, "Whatever." Took the packet out of the bin when he left. Took it out, had another durry or 2. And then I put it back in the bin. It was like an intervention from God. I just let it. I go, "That's it." And then the next few days is hard, whatever. You got to weather the storm, but you weather the storm, you keep looking at that thing, and you replace the habit. So that's the second half. You replace it with something else that you're psyched on. So you can't just go from being a full-time smoker to just sitting there staring at your phone. That won't work. So I replaced it with running. I replaced it with triathlon. I replaced it with cycling, swimming, licking rivers, pumping, this, that. So you got to replace it. And then that makes it harder because then you look back from, like, you get the positive thing, addiction over the neg, and then you look at the positive and you look back at the negative like that's a different you now. That's it. So mindset is the same thing. Read literature that empowers you to be better. Read self-help books. Read the Bible. Don't hang around with dimwits, bro. That's just simple common knowledge. If you're never going to be good friends with unless you become a dimwit, and then you stay dimwits for life, and you look back at each other, you go, "I wasted my life as a dimwit." You don't want to do that. You want to hang around with people that are like-minded, and if you sound like a person that wants to do decent things with himself or make the most of whatever time you've got on this earth, then start to align yourself with people that are inspiring, or at least level, or at least not negative, or you know what I mean. Everyone's got some problems. Everyone's a messed up individual to a certain extent. That's been on forever, and it's never going to change. That's just how it is. No matter how much these idiots in the universities are trying to drown out everyone, "You're racist, you're this, you're that, you're sexist," they're worse. They just haven't seen it yet. And once they keep living life and making all the trips over themselves, and they start getting their head put on the block the way that they're doing to other people, they're going to look back and go, geez, I'm a hypocrite, man. Geez, I'm a hypocrite. So it's more or less like everyone's got to look at themselves first, and that would be the best thing. Be honest with yourself, bro. Jesus, this one got a bit deep, eh? Might as well wrap it at that. Mike, you got my advice. Crack, rap. Questions for Vlad. Motorsport detailing. Have you ever experimented with drugs? Motorsport detailing. Question 2. Have you ever experimented with drugs, bro? Look, I'm a human being, bro, and I've lived in a culture that, and I think pretty much the whole world experiments with drugs, bro. So, I mean, as I said, my daughter's going to watch this one day, and just keep it politically correct and stuff. Like, the shorter answer is I know about everything, right? Okay? And I choose not to elaborate too much on it, but all I definitely do have to say is that life is way better now, and not when I was younger and a catastrophe of a human being. So when you go from catastrophe to immaculation, you can see the fruit is the fruit is in the pudding. The proof is in the pudding. The fruit, bear the fruit, something like that, bro. So, bro, if you're experimenting with drugs, and again, see how to divert it. If you're experimenting with drugs, do your thing, bro. You know, be careful out there. You got one life, bro. And believe me, if you make the right choices, it gets better. You don't want to throw all your eggs in one basket, going to Bond nightclub and seeing who can shovel up more powders up their nose, like the Dyson vacuum cleaner that was early on in the episode, and then come out to impress your mates. They're not your mates. All right, and you're not bettering yourself. You're actually destroying yourself, and that's just the human condition, bro. But that's the condition of living in ignorance. And yes, so I've lived in ignorance, bro. And it's an everyday battle. Like you gotta make sure that you're not sliding towards a cubicle every single day, bro, or rolling up ganja with Bob Marley every single day, and then smoking your life away, and then waking up and all your IKEA furniture is still in the boxes and haven't been put together, and your missus has left you because she found someone that's got half a brain. So there's many different traps that I definitely have been in. That's for sure. But that's the answer to that question, bro. I'm not going to go on to it. Good luck to you if you want to keep going down that path. I don't know if you are. So if you're going to cut that, I don't know if you are. You're probably not. That's the thing. But this week, if I'm going to go on about this, and I'm not going to motorsport detailing, you got your answer. Dopamine is something that the brain constructs, or juices or whatever like that. I'm not sure. But some guy called Andrew Huberman, he's a neuroscientist, biologist, some neuro geek, right? And he's been on the Joe Rogan podcast a couple of times, and I listened to his podcast. I definitely recommend that podcast. It's not comedy. It's this guy, Andrew Huberman, that sits there talking about the brain and all neurology and how you can dopamine levels and how you can train your body to do greater things, or lift, to do muscles, to fast. He does a whole bunch of stuff. The guy's a cool bloke. He used to be a skateboarder. Now he's like a science dork, but at the same time you can see that he was a bit of a you know what I mean, immaculate kind of a dude back in the day. But he was sitting there with some dweeby freak doing an interview, and the interview, I can't hack him, but this guy was giving Tingo, and he was talking about dopamine, which is some juice that goes in your brain, right? And it makes you feel good. So when you're doing drugs, alcohol, cigarettes, drugs, they release dopamine, all right? So that makes you, I think it's dopamine, serotonin, I don't know who she is, but she's also released through other things, but dopamine is released through alcohol, through drugs, right? And that's why you like them. That's why punching a durry is good, because it's little hits of dopamine. That's why dopamine is released in many ways. When you're pumping the missus, it's released, or a missus, or a mister, up to you, up to her. That gets released. So through sex, it's released. Through exhilarating sports, like when I go surfing, coming out of a barrel, that's like a dopamine rush as you're surfing. There's dopamine. Basically, it's like the thing that everyone's psyched up on is dopamine, right? And I've been doing a lot of dopamine looking at. Tell you what else gives dopamine out. These things. Steve Jobs, the dweeb, from up there in the iCloud, still manipulating you. So the apps and the phones, they give dopamine. So that was another way for me to, I haven't had a drink this week, obviously no durries. I haven't exercised because my lower back's out from that little Chinese lady that I spoke about last week, Kwandi. She buckled me and I was going to put a lawsuit on her, but I don't want to take her to the cleanse. We've already had a hard time this quarter. So I just told her, I called her, I go, Kwandi, you buckled me. Kwandi, I can't deal with you anymore. And she goes, come back in, maybe a little bit too tight, take two time. Take 2 free time. I go, well, you think I'm stupid? Once burnt, twice shy, mate. I've said the story in podcasts before. Once you scold a rooster, it runs from the rain. If it survives the hot water scalding, even the rain will scare it now. I'm not coming near you. Like, I've been on anti-inflammatory, bros. Not antidepressants, but anti-inflammatories the whole week. So this week, when I was doing this deep dive into the dopamine stuff, because it's science, I was going, maybe it's a little bit of a reliable source. Now, nothing's reliable, bro, because Huberman's the star at the moment. In 5 years' time, they're going to look back at him and they're going, don't listen to him. He's discredited for 15 things. Now, I'm just using his name. He might be credited. So if you're going to cut that, I mean, don't send it to Huberman. That's all I'm saying. Or Huberman? I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but it's Hub, Huber. So if I was going to say, maybe it's Huberman. But it gets discredited, right? So science is constantly evolving. When pilots used to smoke, doctors used to smoke, durries used to go, it's great for anxiety, and they find out that it's great for anxiety if you get one lung left over after you're not anxious for 10 years. So it changes. But at the moment, I'm listening to this dopamine kind of thing, and he's harping on about it, dopamine. And that's why people do drugs. And that's why people do exhilarating sports or do triathlons. It's that. The achievement is the dopamine. The dopamine comes from all right, so in a non-drug way, dopamine comes from putting a target out there and then walking towards the target. Say you want to get shredded. You see yourself, you got tits jiggling in the mirror. You go, I want to come out shredded, tanned, beyond belief, this, that, immaculation. You throw a picture of yourself shredded or someone shredded, maybe me up on the wall, and then you start a diet. That, as you're going along that diet, walking, running, seeing the weight come up, that is like all dopamine. You start feeling better about yourself. You start, because you're progressing forward. Someone once said, if you set a target to run and touch the wall over there, you touch that wall and there's a dopamine in touching that wall. If you set a target and achieve it, right? That's the natural way. So you set a target, you do the work, get the dopamine. Okay? That's the natural way to do it. Otherwise, you shove a pill up your ass. Shelf something, dopamine. And it's not just a little bit of dopamine. It's like finishing a marathon dopamine, but you're just sitting in the back of an Uber and saying to your mate, Bob, I think it's starting to kick in, man. So, courses for horses, bro. Now, think about everything in this world has got a perfect accounting system. If you get dumped, let's say your normal juice in your brain, the dopamine juice, is like 5 milliliters. Let's just call it that. But shelving a pill up your ass at Byron Bay with your friends that are not going to be your friends in 5 years' time gives you 150 mils, okay? Like, I don't know what that is, 25 times, 30 times, I don't know what it is. If that gets dripped into your brain, what's the payoff? Is the payoff the next day waking up and wanting to walk into the water and hoping a shark is there? Probably. Because I know what it's like to finish an Ironman. You feel amazing afterwards, and then there's like a depressed period the next day because all the training's gone. All of the highs are gone. So I know what it's like after the tour. You sell 3,000 tickets, you're meeting all the gladiators, we're having the best time. It's going to happen again next March, by the way, but you're doing all this stuff, and at the end of the tour, you're like, what am I going to do now? You're flat. So Huberman keeps talking about this dopamine thing, and this works perfectly in line with the motorsport thing about experimental drugs, because that's why people are trapped. That's why I talk about it, and I'm not a huge fan. I'm not a hypocrite as well. Like, I understand. I have lived in this society, so it's not like I'm speaking from a higher point. I'm not. I'm right here in the middle of the catastrophe with everyone else. I'm just speaking about it. It's the only difference. I've got a microphone. And he was talking about, in order to get a healthy dopamine level, you got to do things, but you can't get dopamine without the work. The work supplies the dopamine, then you keep a level baseline of a dopamine. If you, as I said before, find a pinger and decide to put it in the wrong way, then you get this huge rush of dopamine, but your baseline dopamine drops to the shit house. It is very hard to get it back up. You need to fast dopamine. You have to get off everything. You have to basically go into the forest, into the jungle where Jesus went for 40 days and 40 nights and have all the demons come up and talk to you. That's what happens to people when they get off drugs. All right? So be ready for that stuff. My forehead is just shiny, bro. This is the thing about the culture. It's okay to do everything if you want to do it. No one's saying not to do it. The best thing is to know. If you go skateboarding, someone should say to you, listen, bro, if you don't wear a helmet, you could smack your head against the corner of this ledge and then end up being in a wheelchair. I mean, Michael Schumacher, the best car driver of all time, is in a wheelchair, but he went skiing. And then you've got the guy, Superman, who went on a horse, he broke his neck. Like, you should know these things. No one says that stuff. It's just like, here you go, take this, you're going to feel amazing from it. And then your eye won't stop blinking for the next 6 months because there was something in it from a guy that made it in a bathtub. And then you're like, I don't know what's wrong with me. Everyone's looking at me weird. Yes. At least know what's going on and why we do things. And that's the kind of deep dive that I'm doing at the moment. Trying to understand pattern, trying to understand habit, bro. I'm a very creature of habit person. And so for me, it's like very interesting to find out, shit, everything you've done in your life has been like unconscious. And you're like doing all these stuff so you can get a certain feeling, you know what I mean? You do the durries or the drinking or the exercise or the pounding or the sales rapping or the driving of the Audi, mostly unconscious. And that kind of freaked me out. It's like going in the Matrix, like taking the pill. And I was like, not that type of pill, you know what I mean? But just going, shit. This is unbelievable. So that was something that made me think of how much you chase that feeling, because that feeling's mad. That's a mad feeling, bro. Like a skateboard. If you land a trick, this is the beautiful thing about skateboarding. This is, or even soccer playing, or whatever you play, netball. I don't care what you play. So the thing is, if you're at a skate park and there's a handrail, and you're trying to slide down the handrail, you're gonna break sometimes your rib, your hand, your leg, bruised, battered, lower back tweaked, people laughing at you, snap your board, you got to pay for more boards. The whole thing is, when you work tirelessly for a couple of months so you can get that ollie and slide and land it, or the grind and land it, the feeling then is fantastic. You feel so achieved. It's something so trivial. You think just ollieing on a skateboard. I've seen children try to ollie for so long, and then when they pop it up and ollie, their face, bro, glee. It's very satisfying. It can happen with surfing, standing up on a surfboard. You just, because you've worked at it. You know, what drugs are, in my opinion, is putting on those VR glasses, all right? And someone just like straps you up with nodules or whatever those things are, modules, and then just goes beep and puts on, and you start experiencing this high. The same feeling that you experience standing up inside of a tube, or you know what I mean? Something like that. The same feeling. But to a human brain, that's just the same feeling. It feels mad. So then when you leave that place the next week, you'll go, Todd, can we go back there, man, next week and do the virtual surfing? That was incredible, bro. That's the thing. But you're living in your head. And that's the difference. I don't even know why I put that. I'm just testing out this thing. It's actually good, bro. Crack a week, bro. Crack a week. Thanks a lot for tuning in. I love it. This week we got deep, bro, on the dopamine topic. And I got the phone here, like, I'm definitely noticing it is what it is. I'm not a culture vulture. I'm a culture vulture, like a vulture the culture. So I go through picking at the culture, trying to work out what's catastrophe, what's in Mac. And a lot of the times I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong. So if you're going to cut that, I'm wrong sometimes. Self-admission right there. So always trying to learn a little bit more. But that's the other thing I noticed this week, if I'm going to wrap on this, is that the girls that are on Instagram, I've got a TikTok account, and TikTok is the worst, okay? And send that to Xi Jinping or whatever his name is over there, Xi Jinping. That bloke He knows because he keeps a tab on TikTok. And these guys, I don't know even if China can use TikTok, but all I know is the algorithm is mental. These guys, everything that's coming up was funny to me. Everything was interesting to me. I was like, this is amazing. Like, I've only liked a couple videos and I spent a whole bunch of time. And my mate saw me and he goes, stop it. Stop it with that thing, bro. You're too old for this. And I was like, I've done what I wanted to do for the day and I want to spend a bit of time. He goes, bro, imagine if you're 14 years old and you had TikTok in your hands, or 15 years old, you're gone. You'll spend 8 hours on that thing. It's like when Super Mario Brothers came out and you're stuck in the room, you know, and your parents will come in. My dad once smashed the Nintendo with his feet. He stepped on the thing. Lucky it still worked, but it all just seized out and stopped off. And he goes, what are you doing with yourself? Get up. You got to do some work. So he was constantly like riding me like that, like Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong. And I was like, Dad, let me just play a little bit more. Get up. You've been on for 2 hours. Now that's okay. Like 2 hours can fry your brain still, make you a bit of a, you know, moron like that because you're just sitting there, you're not learning anything. But some people say that it is good for you. I don't know. But my father can't handle that. He can't see me sitting there just wasting my life. But now that game is in your hands and you can spend 8, 10, 12, 15 hours on the phone a day. And I noticed as I was going through, I was getting addicted. And he goes, bro, if you're 14, 15 and you have this technology, you're going to forget how to talk to people. You're going to forget how to hold yourself in conversations in groups of people. You become very insulated. You become very inside. So that is actually probably some cause of a concern. I would definitely say the future is going to be maybe a little bit different. The kids that are coming up on this, good luck. I pray for you guys are going to be all right. But then I went on Instagram and I was just on the Explore page and there's just machines coming up left, right and centers. These girls have got the perfect eyebrows, the perfect lips, the perfect eyes, skin. Like my 4-year-old daughter doesn't have skin like that. And then you zoom in, because they're always back, you zoom in, scary, bro. Their head's scary. The eyebrows are very scary, like Agro's Cartoon Connection over there. You can see the skin's been paintbrushed or whatever they call it. The lips are splurged down. Everything's too extreme, bro. Listen, this I noticed, and I can speak from experience, most of humanity up until now, and still now, has been ugly. We're ugly. We're an animal. So if you have a look at animals, see a couple of baboons around, whatever, possums, I'm not saying humans, whatever, kangaroos, you know what I mean? So pumping them up from every angle is just kind of making it a little bit worse, I reckon. It's making it a little bit scarier. That's why I always say just stay shredded, stay tan beyond belief, have a nice hairstyle, this, that. Get what you got and just go on it. And I was just looking and it just made me think most people are ugly. And that's the closing statement. And I can speak from the top of the mountain here because I'm up here as one of them. A head only a mother could love. Just maybe focus on your strengths. If you're a Kim Kardashian and you've got a head that everyone's bringing up every night time so they can bat, good. But if you're not, then maybe we need some more doctors, nurses, pilots, leather lounge makers, camera makers, do all of that. Get off the net because you're scaring us now. And that's how I'm going to end it, bro. From the top of the mountain of the ugly pile, love ya. Gotta leave ya. Have a mad week. Do what you're good at.